Welcome back to class again. So we are continuing, and our first objective today is to learn how to delete a cell, delete a row, or delete a column, or even to delete a range of cells. Okay, now in our previous class we have learned how to use the fill handle to repeat some text throughout. Okay, so we will just use fill handle right now to just populate a column, or if you like a cell, some range of cells, and then look at how we can play around it. Now you should look at the worksheet carefully. So you look at the behavior of the worksheet when we are deleting. Okay? So for some of the deletion process or the removing process, there's going to be a shift to either the left or to the right or to the top. So the shifting is quite important. Okay, so let's type a local name like Abna and then use the fill handle to drag it down. And then we have the column is F and the row begins from 7 till 15. Is that also? Okay, so Excel has got just a lot of columns and a lot of rows. So whenever you make a removal of a row or a column, there is a shifting. If I just deleted everything in this column, I will only have to click on the column name up here and it will select the whole column F. If I would just use Control minus, it's going to delete everything in here, but notice what happens. Did you see what happened? So there was a shift to what? The left, right? Okay. First, you need to select the cell or the range of cell you are interested to remove, and then you can use the shortcut Control minus. That is one option. Okay. The other option is that when you select that particular cell or range of cells, then you can right click and do delete. So I'm going to select right now. I select this range of cells and then I right click and then I see delete option. But notice what will happen. When I select just the range of cells, notice what will happen. There is a pop-up of a dialog box. Do you see that? But when I selected the whole column, there wasn't any pop-up. It just deleted. Do you see that, guys? Okay, so you take note of that. And you can now see if I do shift to the left, what will happen? Yes, we can guess. It's obviously going to delete. Is that not so? For instance, I'm interested just here, and I can still use Control minus. You see, I use Control minus, still the dialog box pops up. So it's not really about the shortcut or anything, but it's about the selection. Okay? If you would select the whole row or the whole column, then you would not see the pop-up. But if you select just a range of them, okay, or just one, then there is a pop-up. Now, look at this. If I would say shift cells to the left, see what happens. Now, the cells below did not move up. Do you see that? So it only deleted the cells that I selected, okay? Now, what about if I change the option? So Control minus, and then if I said shift cells up, let's see what happens. So you see, the one below moves up. However, what I selected is deleted. Do you guys get the concept? Okay. What about inserting? Okay, so we've looked at removing. What about inserting? Now, quickly before the inserting, we can also talk about the third option that you can go through if you want to deal with delete. So we've learned the Control minus, and we've learned using the options shift up, shift left, and so on. But you could also select the cell or the range of cells you are interested in and go to the home ribbon. You look for delete, okay? from the cells group. So this is the cells group, okay? Then you look for delete. Once you click on delete, yes, it will happen. Or you can check the type of deletion that you want. Do you want to delete rows or columns or even the entire sheet or cells, okay? So we can choose what we want, and because we have selected a range of that, we get a pop-up, and then we can choose what we want. Is that okay, guys? All right. So the next thing is insertion. So let's just say I would want to delete this one, and then I want to insert, right? So it's pretty simple. To insert, instead of control minus, now you use control plus. Is that okay, guys? So again, you select the cell or the range of cells where you need new cells inserted, okay? Or you select the row where you need the new cells inserted, and then you press on control plus, okay? Or the other option is to use the right click and then insert, okay? So you may want to insert a cell, or you may want to insert anything. So let's see. Once I right click on this, I see the insert option. When I click on that, then it's asking me, do I want to insert on the right or down or up or wherever, okay? If I want to insert an entire row, I can also do that. An entire column, I can do that. So the same three processes work. Either you use control plus, you right click, or you do what? You go to the home ribbon, and then you go to the cell group, and you can do insert. Do you guys see that here? Next thing is filling data automatically in worksheet cells. Excel has autocomplete feature, like on our mobile phones. However, Excel will only do that for cells that contains text or a combination of text and numbers. Excel will not do automatic completion for dates. It will not do automatic completion for times. Are you guys with me? Okay, so let's just see. If we wanted to type Abner, then you see it pops up the rest. Is that okay? Then we can just press enter, and that's it. So that's the autocomplete we are talking about. Right now, if we wanted to start to type the same kind of date, Excel is actually not telling us what we want to type. In other words, it's not auto-completing. Okay, guys? So that's what we mean by that. So you could also enter time as well, and you check by yourself, you would see that Excel is basically not auto-completing that. Okay. If you do not want to be seeing that fill handle, you can disable that. Okay, and to disable that, you go to the file menu, and then you go to options. Okay, and when you get to options, now let me minimize this. So okay, so when you go to options, you go to advanced. Okay, and at advanced, you have a lot of options here, but you would see that there is a checkbox here that has been checked up for enable autocomplete for cell values. Is that not so? Okay. And then there are other things that have been enabled here. This also is enable automatically flash fill. There are a couple of other things, so we don't have to be coming back and forth. You'd see that enable fill handle and cell drag and drop. Do you see that? So this is the place where you can either enable or disable. Do you guys understand? So you could have an Excel environment where maybe someone who was using the Excel previously has disabled all of these things. So maybe you want to do fill handle and you do not see it. You can always come back to the options and then you come and check the advanced. You would see that the options are there, so that if there is anything that you cannot really find, you can either enable to see them. The next stuff, filling data into adjacent cells here. Okay. So please look here. You could either drag this way. You get up now here, right? When you drag this fill handle anywhere, you're going to have it filled, right? So if you take it to the right, it's filled. You take it to the left, it's filled. You can take it upwards, it filled. Okay, so what you see quickly is the moment you start doing the filling, you see the autofill option. Now with the autofill option, you can either say that it should be filling by copying the cells into the other, or it should fill the format only. Okay, so or you can fill without a format. So these options are there for you. Okay, let's move on. So we said if you select a cell, a range of cells like this, here, this is the cell that contains the data. If you moved your selection upwards and you wanted a fill, you come to the home menu and then you go to the editing group, okay? Now you do fill. This is the symbol for or the icon for the fill, okay? So you can do the drop down. You see, you can fill down, right, up, left, okay? So, and these ones have got the shortcuts there. You would see that if you want to fill right, that is Control R. If you want to fill down, it's Control D. And then you want to fill up and left. So please remember, we mentioned the shortcuts already. So the next thing we are talking about is formula, okay? So we are saying you can fill rows, or you can fill columns, or you can fill range of cells, okay, with a formula that exists in a particular cell. Okay, again, just dragging. Using the fill handle, it works. Okay, or if you have a formula in one cell and you wanted it to be replicated into the cells below it, you can just double click on the fill handle and then it works. Is that okay? So let's demonstrate that. So what we are saying is that, again, I'm going to do something right here. I'll explain that later. So I put 1 here, I put 4 here, and look at this. You see what is happening? Okay, so what I just did is I am filling the rest of the cells with some series, okay? And Excel was able to determine the step value in the series because I selected the first 2, and then when I use the fill handle, Excel is able to identify that the step value is 3. So it is able to populate the other cells downwards with a step value of 3. Okay? So you see 1, 4, 7, 10, blah, blah, blah. The difference is 3. Is that not so? Okay, so that is series, filling in series. You will have a step value. So this is a linear series. Okay? Okay. So I've mentioned one already. When we get there, I'll mention the rest of the 2, and then we move on. So I'm going to basically add everything here, okay? So I'll use a formula. And to type in a formula in Excel, you need to begin with equal to sign. So I'll do equal to, and how to add the elements or the contents of the cells or the range of cells. We have options. The first one is I can just click on this particular cell, and then the cell address is indicated after the equal to sign. Do you see that, guys? I want to add all the contents of the cells right here, okay? Now, to do that, I can either put my formula below here, or I can put it here, anywhere, it's okay. Depending on what you are doing at the time. Okay, so to demonstrate to you how you can use the fill handle to populate the formula into the remaining cells, I want to put the formula right here. And I'm saying that in Excel, if you want to enter a formula, what you do is you begin with an equal to sign, and then you have to select the cell or the range of cells that you are expecting your operation to be performed on. So if you select this, what is happening here, or what you're seeing, is the cell address for the cell which has the value 1. So that is J5, so column J and then row 5, okay? So if I want to just add the value in J5 to the value in J6, I'll just do my plus, and then I'll select J6 again. You see that? Once I'm done, I press on enter, and then Excel gives me the answer. You see that, guys? Okay, cool. So what we are saying is that when you double click, just like what I did, Excel is actually replicating the formula in the rest of the cells below. Okay, so how is Excel doing the calculation? Who can take a guess? Yes, anybody smart here? Yes, bro. Is that in what? No? Yes, my dear? That's right. Okay? Because that's the formula I put there. The formula I put there was to add the first cell with the second cell, right? So Excel, when I do the double click, Excel is basically repeating the formula throughout the cells, the range of cells. Do you get that? But it is following the same formula I put there. That is to add the cell above to the cell below. Okay, just that. Yeah. Because that's where it ends. I'll delete it, okay? I'll delete that question. Okay. It's okay. Jay. Okay. So guys, you see what's happening. So but what you can do is that you can investigate what formulas are behind these contents, right? So if you click on this, you're supposed to see the formula here. It's J8 plus J9, right? So you can match it up and you see what Excel is actually doing. Okay. So you can always check out the formula, okay, to clear your doubts. Yeah. Right, so that is it. Filling in a series, I have shown you how to fill in a linear series using the step value, right? So let's move on. We've already tried with these numbers and we did the linear one. Is that so? Okay. What if I selected here and I moved it up? What will happen? It will go in negatives. You see that? It's like a number line, eh? Right? But it's going with respect to the step value. You see? Okay, good. Now we're saying that you could also do that if you would go, you select the range of cells and you go to the home menu and you come to the editing group okay? And then you want to choose the fill, okay? The fill again. Come down here to series. Okay, so you click on series, and then you get the pop-up of the dialog box. So you see all the options we talked about. You can do linear, growth, dates, or autofill. So once you choose dates, you see that this part that was initially disabled becomes active. Then you can choose the unit you want, whether it's month or year or weekday. Is that okay, guys? All right. So let's choose growth, and then you can keep the step value that you want here. So if it is 2, then you can say okay. Again, you can also indicate where it ends, the stop value, at the stop value, okay? So, yes, the change has already occurred. Now, it will rather be multiplying instead of what? Adding. Do you get that? And it is multiplying based on the step value. Okay, now let's look at the example with the date. Where is our date here? Okay, we can always write another date. So, in fact, once you drag the fill handle down, it will be incremented. Okay. But you see the incrementing is being done based on number of days. Is that not so? So you click on this option here, the autofill options right here, you see? And then you see the option you want to choose here. You can say fill months, right? Or years or whatever. So let's say fill months, and then you see the months changes, right? And the date stays the same, as in the day stays the same. And the year also stays the same until it gets to the last end of the month, and then it changes to the next year. Okay. So you can either use this autofill options here, or you can trouble yourself to go to the home menu and then go to the fill, all right, in the editing group, and then run the process just like that. Go to the series, and then you run the process just like that, okay? Like you have maybe a banana, and then you have, so you select you see? Okay? So Excel is automatically able to determine that you want to alternate this, and it does that. For any other series or whatever entries you want to do that you have a feeling that Excel doesn't provide, then you can define a new list. Okay? You can do that as a custom list. Okay? So Excel has got a lot of formulas, and we will try a couple of them in this class. You can do many of them by yourself, so we are not going to spend a lot of time on that, okay? So a few things like addition, subtraction, and so on. And I've already told you, you can always determine a range by using a full column. Is that also? So let's take examples because we have numbers here, okay? So if we want to add the values right here, and then store the answer in this box, we can just use equal to, then we use the sum. We put a parenthesis, or what you call a bracket. So now I come back here and I drag the range of cells I want. When I drag, then I see it's selecting K8 to K13, so it picks that up, right? Then I close my parenthesis and I press on enter, and it gives me the sum of the values from this part to this part. And then you want to just add it to maybe this one. Okay, let's just do minus. Okay, minus this one. Okay, so you can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, exponentiation, and so on. Okay? All right. So to do multiplication, you use the asterisk sign, you see that? And exponentiation, you use this sign. And Excel allows relational operators like greater than, less than, or equal to. So you can practice this by yourself.